how binary A.S.T. is replacing Json, and why mobile browsers are finally getting faster. Your mobile browser is choking, not on graphics, not on network speed, but on Json. Every time you open a modern web application, your device is hit with massive JSON payloads. We are talking about megabytes of raw text being downloaded, transferred into memory, and then parsed before a single meaningful frame can render. That means your phone is burning CPU cycles, draining battery, and locking up the main thread just to understand data that was already structured on the server. And here is the part most people miss. This is not a network problem. It is a parsing problem. Even if your connection is fast, even if your bundle size is optimized, your browser still has to take that raw JSON string and go through a full transformation pipeline. It has to skin every character, tokenize the input, build an abstract representation, allocate memory for objects, and then reconstruct usable data structures. All of that happens on the main thread. So while this process is running, your app is effectively frozen. No interaction, no responsiveness, no rendering updates. Just a stalled experience waiting for parsing to finish. This is why apps feel slow before they even start. JSON was never designed for this scale. It was built to be human-readable, easy to debug, easy to inspect, easy to transmit across systems. And for years, that trade-off made sense. But modern applications in 2026 are not small. They are complex, state-heavy, and increasingly dynamic. We are shipping configuration, UI state, user data, feature flags, and entire application context through JSON. And every single time, the browser repeats the same expensive work. Read the text, parse the structure, allocate memory, rebuild objects, over and over again. That is wasted effort. Now imagine removing that entire step completely. No string parsing, no tokenization, no reconstruction, no repeated work. That is where binary A.S.T. changes everything. A.S.T. stands for Abstract Syntax Tree. It is the structured representation that engines already use internally after parsing code or data. Normally, the browser has to build this structure from scratch every time it receives text-based input. But with binary A.S.T., that work is done ahead of time. Instead of sending raw JSON text, we send a precompiled binary representation of the data. It is already structured in a way the engine understands. The browser does not need to interpret it. It does not need to rebuild it. It simply loads it directly into memory and starts executing. Think of it like this. JSON is like sending a full instruction manual that the browser has to read and interpret step by step. Binary A.S.T. is like sending the finished structure, already assembled, ready to use immediately. That difference is not small. It is fundamental. Because now, the main thread is no longer blocked doing redundant parsing work. Initialization becomes dramatically faster. Time to interactive improves. CPU usage drops. Battery consumption decreases. And most importantly, the user experience feels instant. On high-end desktops, this improvement is noticeable. On mobile devices, it is game-changing. Limited CPU power, limited thermal headroom, and strict battery constraints mean that every wasted cycle matters. Eliminating parsing overhead directly translates into smoother performance and longer session times. But this is bigger than just speed. This is a shift in how we think about delivering applications. For years, the web has relied on human-readable formats as the default transport layer. JSON, HTML, even JavaScript itself are all text-first systems that require interpretation at runtime. Binary A.S.T. moves us toward machine-native formats, pre-processed, pre-optimized, and designed for direct execution. As applications continue to scale, this approach becomes less of an optimization and more of a necessity. Because at some point, you cannot optimize parsing any further. You have to remove it. And that is exactly what this shift represents. We are not making JSON faster. We are replacing the need for it in performance-critical paths. Now, does this mean JSON disappears completely? No. It will still exist for APIs, debugging, and interoperability. But for high-performance mobile applications, especially those pushing large amounts of state and data, binary A.S.T. is where things are heading. And once this becomes standard, the idea of waiting for your app to warm up will feel outdated. Slow initialization, frozen main threads, and heavy parsing costs will start to look like relics of an older web. JSON had its moment. It solved a real problem, and it enabled an entire generation of applications. But the demands of modern systems have outgrown it. Binary A.S.T is not just an upgrade. It is a fundamental change in how data is delivered, understood, and executed inside the browser. And if you care about performance, especially on mobile, this is a shift you cannot ignore. Subscribe to FrontEndSystemsLab.